Get ready for an hour filled with conspiracies, UFOs, ghosts, the paranormal, legends, and myths from around the world. Chasing Prophecy Radio, where the paranormal is supernatural. With your hosts, Sean Kelly, Jenny Nicasio, Bob Dog Pagani. Welcome to the Chasing Prophecy Radio, and here are your hosts, Sean, Bob, and Jenny.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Remember to like us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Jenny Nicasio, your host, along with Sean Kelly. Happy 4th weekend. I guess you can consider it a weekend for us as a means of escaping all the nonsense in the world. We aren't going to rehash any of that tonight. Okay, so this evening, we are going to get right to tonight's topic. So many have experienced unusual occurrences, which can be only described as paranormal. So on this full moon, we're going to discuss hauntings, ghosts, apparitions, spirits, and maybe some demonic spirits. So if you have a haunting or just want to talk about them, and you want to ask our guests a question, there is a link on Chasing Prophecy Facebook page. It's a Skype link. You'll just have to download Skype if you don't have it, okay? So my co-host, Sean Kelly, has been doing paranormal investigations for over 30 years. So tonight, we're going to discuss his investigations. Along with Sean, we have Carmen Jacobs, I got it backwards, Russell Round, and Belle, I hope I pronounced this right, Wingard. And so welcome to the show, everyone.
Hey.
I'm glad you are here tonight with us, guys. So make sure if you have mute to unmute yourself. So, Sean, tell our audience, okay, how you started doing paranormal investigations.
Well, back in February of 2006, I went up to Gettysburg and I bought a camera and I went on this little ghost tour that they have up there in Gettysburg, and I got real interested. So I was up there for 2 days and I decided to go out by myself the next night. So I got the camera and I was taking pictures and I didn't get a thing. Maybe a little mist or a little little orb or something like that. I don't know. But when I came back, I was sitting at Eaton Park with Carmen. She worked there. And I told her my idea of starting a paranormal group. And this was in March of 2006. And so she was working and I was drinking my coffee and we started talking. And I went up on meetup.com. I don't know if anybody knows about meetup.com. And I got a bunch of people together and we decided to do places like Blue Mist Road. And we did a couple cemeteries. One out there in Monroeville. Do you ever hear of it, Jenny? Russland?
No, where is it in Monroeville?
Russland.
Never heard of it.
Somewhere out there. It's the story is there's a ghost out there called Walking Rosie. And what happened was how that story became was there was a bunch of kids that came out there one night and desecrated her tombstone and threw it over the hill. And she's been wandering Russland for about, since it happened. And I have seen her and I have known people also who have seen her. And it was just pretty interesting. Wow. And as time went on, in October of 2006, we did our first house investigation down in Elizabeth, PA, which was Molnar's Marina. And after that, we just took off, and we've been going strong from 2006 to now.
Wow. Well, before we take any calls, I just wanted to ask you and your crew, what kind of equipment do you use when you do an investigation?
That'd be you,
Okay.
Russ.
We use EVP meter or EVP recorders. That's record. It's just a digital recorder, and normally you can get some answers when you ask questions. We have IR cameras, Mel meter, and the K2 meter.
No, when you say these meters, what are they actually recording? Are they heat? Right?
The K2 meter, what that registers is energy. Electricians used to use it.
So electrical energy.
Yes, electricians still use them. That's to see if there's electric energy in the air from a bad ground. A lot of houses they don't have their electric grounded well enough, and if you go through, it'll spike. And they say that gives you some strange feelings too when there's electromagnetic energy in the air.
Mm-hmm. Now,
then,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
They are called the EMF meters.
No, that's a K2 meter or Mel meter. They measure milligas. That's electromagnetic energy. And the EVP recorder, that's just a digital voice recorder.
Okay, it's a recorder.
Yes. Like
a regular recorder that you would record someone talking in an interview.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've downloaded them to my phone. It's an app too. You can get an EVP recorder app.
No, Russ, right?
Yes.
When you use these equipment, how do you know that it's not your regular electricity, like your computers, your telephone, your television, and not like a spirit?
Well, what I do is I do a baseline reading, and I'll walk through the house and I'll see if it doesn't go up at all. It goes from yellow or green to red.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's yellow in there, and I'll usually walk through and get a baseline, and then we'll sit and set it on a table or on a floor, and we'll start asking questions and say, can you come to this meter and we'll be able to communicate with you. And sometimes you get nothing, but a lot of times you'll get where it'll go up to red, and I've said, can you take it up to red and hold it there for 5 seconds? And I'll count to 5, and then it'll go back down. And then I always thank them.
So they actually communicate with you through the recorder. That's really interesting. Now,
I was very skeptic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Is that Russ or is that
Right. That's
okay.
Russ.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was very skeptic at first when I first started doing paranormal investigating, but I've seen some things where I can't explain how it has answered me. Like one time I said, do you like women? And it went up to red. I said, for no, if you don't like women. So I told my wife to go downstairs. And after she went downstairs, it communicated with me. I'd ask it a question. Are you a male? It'd go up to red. And then I'd keep asking different questions, trying to trick it. And sometimes it wouldn't move at all. And then it always did it after a question. It was very interesting.
So the recorder, how is that different than a spirit box?
Well, spirit box, that's
and describe what that is to our audience. Describe what it is.
Spirit box is it scans just like in your car, your radio. And when you put it on scan, to look for radio stations. But what a spirit box does, it won't stop on any. It just keeps scanning them. And the one I have will scan backward.
So it's a frequency.
It's so fast. Yes, the different frequencies I usually use FM. And the one I have, it'll go backward. So if you get a sentence, you know that it's something I feel paranormal, because it's hard to get a sentence. The other way you can, but in reverse, and a lot of times we have gotten, answers.
Okay, so you have the spirit boxes, you have the cameras, the EMF devices. Is there any other equipment that you use in video camera?
We have IR cameras. I love them. Really, it's just a security camera that you'd use for your home, and we put them places and hit it on record. We look for things in the shadows, and it's pretty boring when you really.
Oh, it sounds fascinating to me. How reliable are they? Your recording of these spirits. How reliable would you say they are?
I have to see something really extraordinary to believe it's a spirit. Like sometimes I'll see an orb, just fly past. It could be dust, could be a bug.
Dust or good.
But one time we'd seen things come straight at us, stop, an orb come straight at us and stop in midair, and then go into somebody. In fact, it happened to the one radio or TV person, Wendy Bell.
Oh, really?
That was a good one.
We should have her on the show.
She was very skeptical. And then she got real sick.
Oh.
And she was talking to Sean. She said she felt really nauseated. And I was recording behind her with an IR camera. And then all of a sudden, it come out of her and went straight up. This was at a library.
This was an orb.
Yes. And
yes.
She said, I feel better. And I said, Miss Bell, you should come here and look at what I just caught. And it really amazed her. She said, I don't know what that was. I never got sick like that. And you could see it going in her back and then going up into the ceiling.
We should try to get her on the phone.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know what an orb is, tell our audience what an orb is and what it's made up of, that if they haven't already done the research on it.
What I believe it's energy. Oh, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
Well, there's like all different types of orbs. You got your mist, your little dew orbs, raindrop, bugs, orbs, but dust. But the ones that I really truly believe are the ones that look like a bright moon, which is solid white. And to me, that is no doubt what that is, a spirit.
Wow.
And what's cool about it is whenever you have, say, like a paranormal experience, like you've been touched or something grabbed your hand or something weird happened around you, and someone snaps a picture and you get this real bright orb around you, then you know for a fact that there was a spirit right next to you.
That's amazing. Now, when people take pictures, okay, and there's like that little, like a orb, how do you know that they're looking at maybe a spirit or just a piece of, would you be able to tell the difference between that and a piece of dust?
Absolutely.
No, how would you determine that?
Well, a piece of dust, if you look at an orb dust on a picture, it's like kind of foggy, okay, and it's kind of weird looking. I'm going to have to send you some pictures of those. But sometimes you get a moving orb. The best person to ask for this would be Val.
Val, go ahead. She might have it on mute.
Well, I'm not one of those ones that buys into the orbs all that much. I think that most of them, like Russ, are dust, water droplets, and their brightness or opacity has a lot to do with how close or how far they are to the cameras, whether or not the light source is very strong or dim. I will generally disregard most orbs. I'm kind of... Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you're very skeptical about the orbs.
The orbs, yes, absolutely.
Okay. What about the moving ones, like on a video or one that would actually like start out as a like a soap bubble and grows to a huge, would you consider that a spirit or just some kind of anomaly? What would you?
Well, it can be explained as something that's actually coming towards the camera. In any room, there's always air flowing. Whether or not you can feel it, it's always constantly moving. And for a piece of dust, a simple thing like you just turning your head can create a lot of air that can push that dust around.
Mm-hmm.
In the instances where you're talking like the thing that happened with Wendy Bell, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some that seem to move with purpose as opposed to just flowing. Those I would be more apt to consider an orb. But like in still shot, I think it's mostly all dust.
Okay, so if you're in person and you see this, it's totally different than what you would see capture on a still photo.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. I want you guys to tell me, like, when you're doing your investigations, do you see like catch lights flashing, or do you ever see things move? Has it ever been like that for you guys?
I called them squigglies.
Squigglies.
Yes, but in the paranormal field, they call them paranormal rods.
Oh,
But I call them squigglies.
cool.
That's when you take a picture, and every now and then you'll see a long green streak right out in the middle of your picture. You know, It don't have to be green all the time. Could be yellow or white, whatever, but they look kind of weird.
What was you guys? What was your scariest investigation? Would you say?
We'll let Carmen get this one.
Go ahead, Carmen.
It's funny you picked me for that one first, Sean.
Of course.
Scariest experience was probably the second residence that we had done. Was it a home residence, I believe, in Carrick? And I think it used to be, no, that wasn't the funeral home one. It was an older home. I mean, Carrick, Pittsburgh, there's a lot of older homes in general in the city. An older home. You and I were sitting on the stairs of the landing between the first and second floor. There were members of our group who were on the second floor, 2 men, and those 2 men happened to be very skeptical, and they were trying to agitate spirits, trying to get them to, knock on walls, make a sound. And you and I at the time didn't realize that one of the men had said, come on, buddy, come get me. If you've got something to say, come attack me. We found out later, after the fact, Sean and I are sitting on the landing. We're doing kind of this Q&A kind of back and forth. Sean will probably tell you that he's a medium, and he would, allow certain spirits to come channel through him. I would be the questioner, and they would answer for me, and we would record these. And no sooner did that skeptical man in our group say, come on, hit me, come on, get me. This thing came through Sean, and Sean lunged out at me, is like trying to choke me, and just gibberish coming out of his mouth. And it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then he kind of shook his head and took a step back and goes, oh, I don't know who that was, but he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And so that was probably my scariest experience, was almost being attacked by a spirit via Sean.
Sean, Val,
Yes.
and Carmen, I have it looks like Bucks wants to know, what are some of the most interesting investigations have you done in PA?
Wow, that's a good question. I would have to say the Carnegie Library down in Carnegie, and very, very haunted down there. And every Halloween, Uniontown, they have a ghost walk. And we go down and we do little mini investigations at DeMarco's Bistro. But I got the opportunity to do the tour. And I'm telling you what, it was pretty great. All investigations are good. I mean, if you don't get nothing, no evidence or nothing like that, it's still the thrill for me. Okay, is the thrill like getting up to the investigation. Okay, but when the investigation starts, then it's like it's done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the anticipation of getting ready for the investigator, which is the high.
Exactly.
Okay. We have, I don't know if Tara does Tara have a question? If you do, Tara, unmute yourself.
Yeah, Tara's in a group.
Does she have a question or
Hi guys, how are
Hey, what, Tara?
Hey,
you guys doing tonight?
good.
They're doing good, buddy. How are you?
Good. So, on Sean's thing about DeMarcos, we had a really bizarre experience occur between Sean, his brother Patrick, and me, and I can't remember, was it Roy, where we were upstairs in the brothel, and you and Patrick were down in the what I would refer to as the Captain Morgan bar.
Uh-huh.
And I had a with, and all of a sudden we both sets of people in PPS heard a big loud bang. I thought Sean and Patrick were coming up the stairs. Sean and Patrick thought we were going down the stairs. So I asked if they were okay, and nobody answered. So we decided to walk down the steps because we were getting ready to get new people in, and a big roll of toilet paper had been thrown down the stairs when there wasn't any anywhere near us.
Oh,
yeah. There's been some really crazy stuff. And let me tell you something about Faith. We did an investigation out in East McKeesport, and she literally got picked up and thrown.
Oh my goodness, that's probably why she doesn't do it anymore. That's crazy.
How about you, Val? Val?
For me, I think my most favorite investigation, I honestly don't remember where this house was. Something was telling me Murraysville, but I might be wrong. But it was a private residence with a husband and a wife. And the wife was terrified. She was constantly feeling like she was being threatened by a male presence. The husband had actually gotten a phone call from who he believed was his dead father. And I guess they felt that the dead father did not like the wife, and he was there coming after her. And this was early on when I first started doing investigations. And as a person who, like Sean says, a believer, non-believer, I believe, I just don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't hear it. I don't have any of that kind of psychic connection to the spirit world. We got there to the house to do the investigation. And, you know, I mean, you looked at the woman and she looked like she was only 3 feet tall. She was sunken in on herself. You could easily see how terrified she was. And so we had them leave the house, which we don't normally do. We made them leave while we did the investigation. And, we walked through the house and checked things out. And I don't think that anything really happened while we were there. But Sean basically said, that the spirit, it needed to go. And after all was said and done, and we kind of confirmed that it was the man's father and et cetera, we had the two come back through the house. And the difference in this woman alone was just amazing. It was like she was light, like she had a halo around her, and I couldn't physically see anything like that, but I could really tell that she was comforted and she was now okay and no longer afraid. And that was probably the most amazing experience I had. And it didn't even happen to me, but just seeing her was just amazing.
She was at peace. Yeah, that's amazing. We have a JN on the call. Did you have a question, comment for one of the investigators, or do you want to tell your experience? You can just unmute yourself. JN. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead. We'll moving on. So let's move on in case they decide to come back on.
How about Russ?
Well,
what was your favorite one, Russ?
My favorite investigate where I was felt the eeriest and got the chills was at Hillview Manor. It was, I went by myself, which they say you're not supposed to do, and I went up to the third floor, and I was in the guide said there was a man named Jimmy up there, and I went up and was talking to him, and I didn't hear anything or see anything. When I went downstairs and listened to my EVP recorder, I could hear him talking to me, and it wasn't nice. he was swearing at me, and there was nobody else up there with me, and that was the wildest thing that's ever happened. Except me and my wife went to Scotland, and we had some crazy experiences over at in Greyfriars Cemetery.
Wow.
That's a very unique place.
Wow. Okay, that's John. You were telling me when we first met that you investigate churches. Now, are you investigating like ghosts or something else? And tell our audience about it, because I find it fascinating.
Oh yeah, the church that I really investigated was the one down in Mon City. I cannot say Monongahela, all right, so I say Mon City, and it was St. Anthony's. And what was crazy about that is they had a place where the nuns used to live. Okay. And we actually investigated where the nuns were at. And
really?
We got a lot of creepy stuff down there too.
So the nuns were haunting the convent?
Yeah.
Did you record anything, or did you see anything?
Oh, that was so long ago that
you don't remember.
That's probably in the archives somewhere, or somebody else has it. But I remember whenever we would talk or ask a question, they had a ceiling fan. Okay. And again, there was no air going through that would make the fan turn. And every time we asked a question, the fan would turn. Right for yes, left for no.
That's spooky. Now, you know how all those shows like The Conjuring, Poltergeist, what else is there? I know there's the Amityville Horror. Now, those are all based on true stories. Now, have you ever encountered anything in Pittsburgh that could be made into a story because it was so scary? Or did anything remind you of one of those stories? You know how you go to a flea market or an antique store and there's an old doll and there's a spirit in the doll, or a box or a jewelry box. Did you ever encounter anything like that? Or give me your 2 cents on all of you, Russell, Val, Carmen, and I think Val, you're on mute, I believe. So whoever wants to start first for me.
Well, this is Russell.
Okay.
I've never had the amount of evidence like that they've caught on TV. And I always say that I don't know how I know they have 1,000 people looking through all this video, and like I said, it's boring watching this stuff. When you get home and then you got to go through 10 hours of video, it's kind of tough to catch things. But I've never had anything happen that would, be good enough for a movie.
Okay. Anybody
Carmen?
else?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I've had fun investigations. I've had lots of, interesting places that we visited. Some of them are, when we first started out, Sean, we went to mostly all the, quote unquote urban legend places within Pittsburgh. So we went to the Blue Mist Road. We saw the cemetery with Walking Rosie, which is the same cemetery that Night of the Living Dead was filmed in Monroeville. So, I mean, if you wanted to make a movie based on urban legends in Pittsburgh, there'd be a lot of places you could fill up a time with, but I don't think there's a single investigation that, kind of like Russ said, that, we've had a lot of overwhelming amount of evidence from.
Well, we have another question from BF. I'm not sure who that is, BF, on the chat, and wants to know, what do you think causes the physical symptoms of these encounters? Why do you think people get sick or feel strange when they have an encounter?
I believe that the energy from the spirit is very overwhelming. And when it goes through you, or if it's around you and you're not used to the energy, then people start feeling nauseous, and then they start getting dizzy or sick, and they have to sit down.
Okay, and he has another one. Any investigations at any of the battlefields in PA, like Bushy Run, or you said Gettysburg already?
Gettysburg.
If so, what have you found there, if you had any there?
Gettysburg is the best. I'm telling you, it is humorous. Gettysburg is very, very, very haunted.
I think you'd have to do a whole show with Sean in Gettysburg.
Yes, absolutely.
A whole show of I know my son went there, and they took pictures. Now, have you ever seen the one room where they have the pearls? I think it was Jenny Wade.
Jenny
Wade. What do you think about that? Is that do you believe that's true? I mean, is that a real ghost?
She's real. She's a real ghost.
She's a real ghost. So what about those pictures with the pearls?
I don't really. When I went
up
there.
Well, there was a picture my son brought back when he went there, and then all there was pearls hanging, and they said that was Jenny Wade holding them, or that was her. I don't know. Maybe
I've never seen him.
You never seen that? Well, maybe if they're listening, they can call in, because I remember the picture and I go, wow, that's really freaky, but that's scary. So Bushy Run, have you heard of
I went there one time. I wasn't too thrilled.
No?
Nah, because
go ahead.
Because where we went by that log cabin, that cabin or whatever it is, and that's as far as we could go.
What do you mean that was as far as?
We couldn't go onto the battlefield.
They wouldn't let you?
Nope.
Wow. Now, when we went down there with Faith and my son, we went with the Penn Trafford High, they had a class up there. We went down by the lime wall, and that was scary. And I'll tell the story again, because it did happen. I'm not hallucinating. Everybody's in there with their cameras, and they're all, investigating, and they're in their mood. And I felt a breath on my neck said to leave. And they squeezed my arm. Okay, I'll never forget this. And I panicked. I told Faith, I'm getting out of here. I ran so fast, I almost ended up running into 993. And when I went home, I had a bruise mark on my arm the next day. And then I got sick. Like you said, you got sick. I got deathly ill. I was so sick, I didn't know what what was going on. So I went to the doctors a few days later, and they said, "Oh, you have H1N1." Huh? I was fine until I went there. I was like, "What?" Huh? So, and they took a picture. I know your one investigator doesn't believe. I think it was Val or Carmen. Which one didn't believe in the orbs?
That was Val.
Okay. Val. Well, my son took a picture, and there was a huge orb on my chest. Like you could see it like in front of the picture. And I was so sick. And my mother always said, "No, I want to know your opinion on this," that the spirit piggybacked and went home with me.
That's possible.
Did you ever hear of the piggybacking of the spirit?
Oh, we just thought they followed them home. Yeah.
They do follow you home.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. They absolutely can. I've seen that firsthand too.
Yeah.
And I get a phone call the next morning.
Well,
Sean, there's something attached to me. Let's do this.
Because it's like you get sick after you have an experience like that.
Yeah.
And no one really understands it unless, they have the same experience.
Well, I'd like to share a story from Gettysburg. I was up filming my show, Paranormal Pittsburgh, and we were on Sachs-covered bridge, and I got zapped by a spirit right in the back. Okay. And I was out of it for 3 days.
What do you mean by zap? Like electricity? Like a shock?
Kind of, yeah. It felt like him sticking a knife in my back.
Oh my gosh, that would totally freak me out. Sorry.
I thought it was great until
You did.
3 days. 3 days of sickness. But you know what? A lot of people, they do get scratched. They do get kicked. They do get bit, punched, whatever. And whenever you have that type of a situation with a spirit, you are out for about 3 days. No, I mean, not totally out, but there's like...
No, Jen just said, the producer just said that's demonic.
I love you, Jen. I love you. That's another story for an hour.
She said, yes, it is demonic. Yeah. Well, how do you know the difference between a demonic spirit and a peaceful, or just somebody that's just a lost soul that just needs to go to the light?
Oh, wow. See, to me, the way I work is when I go into a meditation and I'm in the house, and it's really, really weird. If I ever see, you remember Uncle Fester from the Addams Family?
Yeah.
Whenever I see Uncle Fester, then that's, a demon or a minion. Basically, that's how I can tell. But a lot of people, I'd like to share this. Do you remember the movie when it came out, The Lady in Black?
Yes.
Okay. The next day, I had 26 emails saying everybody saw The Lady in Black, not the movie, in their house. Okay. So I blame TV. I blame the TV shows and stuff like that for some of the fear that they actually put into people. Because, they watch all these TV programs, and when something pretty bad happens into the house, they think it's a demon right off the bat. You know what I mean? But all the cases that I have worked, okay, 95% of them were just spirits who were just pissed off because they changed the color of the wallpaper. Okay.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whenever you do a remodeling in a house and the spirit's been here a lot longer than you, and you change it from X and O's to pink polka dots, they get mad.
So they get mad if you remodel. Okay, that would.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because if they've been there for a long time, they probably, especially if it was their home.
Yes, and even if you tear down the wall to make an extra room, all hell breaks loose.
Wow. Makes me want to not remodel. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, so you guys have seen human spirits. What about animals?
I never have
seen it. No?
No.
And if there's any call, you've heard them. Was it barking or like a cat?
Breathing. I heard.
Oh, jeez.
Like that.
Well, if there's anybody in the audience that had ever seen a animal, please hit the link and call. I'd love to hear about it. Oh, the producer has had. Jennifer, the producer, said she's seen an animal. Well,
would you like to share that, Jennifer?
Yeah, Jennifer. I know you're not feeling too well.
Sure. I've seen several animals, and most of them are mine. Okay. I believe that animals, and it's probably not an earthbound. It's probably just a visiting animal, and if you have a connection with an animal, they're going to visit you more. And so if you see, I'm sure that you could probably have earthbound animals. It's probably rare because they're so pure of spirit. I think that some spirits can show themselves as animals. But when my experience, the kids and I, we're all mediums. So this helps. But most of the time I'm just going about my life, right? And I'm not looking for spirits in the home. So I had a black cat who passed away. And he was just very timid, and he just always wanted to come and sit by me. Didn't want you to touch him. He just wanted to sit by me. So he had passed away, I don't know, maybe a month before that. Enough time for me to get over it and start thinking about other things. And that's somebody's. So I went outside and I was sitting on the front porch, and there was no lights on outside. It was dark. The light was coming through the living room window. This cat was all black. Okay. And you know when you look down at a cat and you see the separation of the hair when you look inside the ear? You can see the you can see the white skin, just like in the opening of the ear. That's what I saw. I looked down, and I saw that, and then I saw the head. Excuse me, and then he was gone. So I didn't move my attention, but I saw it clear as day. And as soon as I recognized it as Mikey, my cat, it was gone. But I didn't look away, and it wasn't another cat sitting there. Also, I've seen my old orange cat walk out of down the stairs, and it's usually peripheral vision that we're seeing these things. We've seen our old dog run across the yard. And you're going to see things in peripheral vision because it's your second attention. Your first attention, as soon as you see it in the peripheral vision, we usually look at it. And when you look at it, everything is processed that fast through your brain. So it's going to disappear because your brain thinks that is not possible, it's not there, it shouldn't be there. But the second attention from the peripheral vision tells you that it just tells you anything that is there for your own protection, so you don't run into things like that. So a lot of peripheral vision animal sightings. I'm a medium. I have done mediumship readings for animals that have passed, so the animals do come back and forth quite often. So I have not experienced a lot of earthbound animals, but I do know that they can show up in full form when they want to.
Wow. That's crazy. I know when my beloved German Shepherd passed away when I was a teenager, we used to keep him in the bathroom because he was so he was mad. He was always bad and angry, and he was kind of aggressive. So that was his place where we would put him when we had company. Well, when he passed away, that next morning, he was hit by a car. They were bringing new doors into our home, and I was in the bathroom, and I was having a crying session, and I looked up at the brand new door that they just put on. His image was ingrained in the wood. Now, could that have been his residual energy?
Very possible, yes.
It's okay, because that was really a crazy thing that happened to me. I'll never forget it. So, excuse me?
Is it still there?
I don't know. We moved. I wish we would have took the door with us because it looked just like everybody, our company would come. That was the big main attraction, going to see, because they knew my dog Caesar. He was crazy, and it looked just like him. It was ingrained in the wood. It was so powerful.
That's crazy. That it was on the bathroom too.
It was in the bathroom that we would put him, and it was like, I still get chills thinking about it because it was. I was devastated when he passed away, but it was an attraction. Like, oh, you want to go see Caesar? He's in the bathroom. He's on the door. So it kind of gave me a peace of mind that he was there, but I wish we would have took the door with us, but we didn't. That's why I was asking about that. I do
know spirits can make impressions on things and move things around, especially shortly after they passed. An earthbound spirit can do more, but if just right around the time, within the first 6 months of like a human passing.
This was the morning after he was, because he died 2 a.m.
They can show up full force. They can move things around. And I do know that I did an investigation at a friend of mine's house. Oh my God, we got to do a show on that one day. That's gonna knock your socks off. This place was like a subway of paranormal activity. It was like a river of energy running through this house, and the ghost would just jump off and get back on. It was crazy. There was this guy that was He had died in a barn fire. He was special needs, but he was an adult, and he kept looking for his parents. He ended up at Jenny's house on this river of energy. I don't know why everyone's named Jenny, but
It's a good name.
He was making burn spots on her wall.
Oh, I
And
like that.
That's why she called me over there. So I know that they can do that either intentionally or unintentionally to get people's attention.
Oh, that's creepy. Mm-hmm. That is really creepy. I think we have a caller. JW, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Just want to say hi to everyone. Hope everyone's having a good night.
Cool, we are. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
I just want to share an experience that I had in the Pittsburgh area, if you guys don't mind.
No, go for it.
Okay, so it was me, my brother, and my dad. And I think someone else was there, but I can't remember. But we were heading out from a baseball game going up towards 21 towards Harmerville.
Okay.
And there was so much traffic, right? We were stuck in traffic probably a good hour, and it was probably around 9, 10, maybe a little bit later. And I'm sitting in the back seat. I think it was like early 2000, so I was probably around, 14, 15. And I'm just looking at the traffic, and then all of a sudden I see someone run across the street. And we're on 28, like right before the Harmerville exit, going away from Pittsburgh. And I freak out because I have no idea why there's a person on 28 running across the street at like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm telling everyone, like my brother and my dad, I'm like, guys, did you not see that? Like, there's someone on the road. And they're just like, no one's on the road. And I'm like, no, seriously, there's someone on the road. So they didn't see anything. But clear as day, I saw, a shadow, because with the lights reflecting off everything, it was dark. And the next day, my dad calls me, because he usually drives 28 a lot to go up to the malls and stuff. And he goes, remember when you said you saw someone? I said, yeah, of course. Like, how could I forget seeing someone run on 28 during, 11 o'clock with traffic? He goes, there's a cross on the side of the street where we were stuck in traffic.
Oh.
That's cool.
That is.
So,
go ahead.
Did it have a, could you tell if it was a male or female?
If I can remember, it was just a dark silhouette. So, if I had to put a guess to it, I would say male, because it was taller, more broad. But clear as day. Like, it wasn't like a mist like you see online or like Ghost Adventures, anything. It was just straight dark shadow running, like arms, waist, torso, head, legs, everything.
Was there any kind of lights or anything coming off, or was it just a shadow?
No, it was just like a picture, someone in all black running across 28 through the barrier, the dividing barrier in the middle. But they swear they didn't see anything, but I did.
Awesome. That's
have you
great.
ever seen anything else after that, or are you the kind of person that does experiences? Do you see spirits all the time, or is this just something that happened once in a while?
Personally, I think I've seen a lot growing up and even still today.
Can you tell us any of those?
Oh man, too many to tell.
Really?
But I was listening in. Yeah, I was listening in about the animal spirits. When I first met my wife, one of the first times I went to her house, I was walking past one of the main rooms, and I saw a cat sitting on the bed. And I go up to her and I go, I didn't know you had a cat. And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, I saw a cat sitting on the bed over there. And I described the cat and everything. And she goes, my cat just died. Like, you're describing my cat that just passed away.
Wow.
So how do you have, what is this like something, you said you have so many that you there's just so many to tell. Why do you think that have you always been like that? Did you have it when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can remember, I've always had some sort of experience, whether it's with, feeling like people have played with my hair.
Oh, wow.
Unsettling feelings when I don't know if like Sean or anyone in the audience there has ever, gone to an area and you're not thinking of anything, and then all of a sudden you like walk into a room and you just stop dead. Like you hit a brick wall.
Absolutely.
Jennifer,
and you know something's wrong.
Jennifer, the producer, she's saying you're a medium.
I'm a medium?
That's what she said. Jan, you want to tune in?
Yeah, lots of people are mediums, and lots of people just, they don't really, maybe not be their thing to embrace it in this lifetime. Some people have to get to a certain point in their life where they feel comfortable learning about it, and the more they learn about it, the more the fear falls away, and things start to make sense. Because think about it. If you have 1 million stories to tell, then you can have a greater sense, and you can pick up on spiritual energy. You can pick up, and you seem to be very visual. I know this because I got a house full of mediums over here, and my daughter is like that. She sees our cat on a regular basis and just out of the blue. And I know my daughter. I know when she's telling the truth, and she usually is about this stuff. She'll just out of the blue just say, "Oh, I just saw Hunter." It's not like she's trying to get attention. I mean, she's 20 years old. She saw her father passed away when she was 7 years old, and for 6 months after that, she saw him in full, always different clothing. Saw him at school, saw him in her room, she saw him, and then I could tell you stories, knock your socks off, right? Stuff you cannot deny. She told me what he was wearing on the day that he died, and I did not see him get dressed, and she was at her grandmother's house the day he left for work and died in a car accident. And he came back to visit her, and she told her. So there are people that have this ability, but they're just busy with life right now. And they don't really. So I bet you anything. I'd bet you money. If you read up on it and just really started researching, you would probably open up more to it. If you release the fear, that's when the ability expands.
Oh, you hear that, JW?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you so much, JW. We appreciate it. We have another caller, I believe, KN. If you want to go ahead. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy.
So I just had a couple of experiences. My husband and I have lived in our house for about 2.5 years, and when he moved in with me, he brought his ashes of his cat that passed away, and ever since he brought those ashes, I see out of the corner of my eye a cat running around all the time. He's just recently started to see it, but I've been seeing it for the last 2 years, I guess you could say. It always runs around. And then also, I feel like I'm not as sensitive to this stuff as others are, but sometimes I do get weird feelings. And my brother-in-law has said that he hears screaming in our house and he sees shadows. So I feel like there's definitely some activity going on.
Oh.
And I don't know how to make them pass over.
Where do you live?
We live in Irwin.
Mm-hmm. Would you like our group to come out and investigate your house?
Sure.
Awesome. You can send us a message in our Facebook page, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, and we can discuss it some more, and then we can set a date for us to come out and investigate.
That would be awesome. We also just had this weird incident the other day. We have security cameras, and my husband couldn't sleep the one night, so he was out in our living room, and whenever there's movement in our living room after a certain time, it sets off the security camera. So in the morning, sometimes I'll have notifications if my cat's out there or whatever. So I had this notification. So when I looked at my security cameras in the morning, I saw my husband walking around, and there was this orb kind of following him. Like, it was on the couch, and anytime he moved, it started to move really fast. And then whenever he would lay down, it would still move, but it was kind of slower. And my cat definitely noticed it and was watching it. He didn't seem too upset by it, but he knew something was there. Also, my dad passed away not too long ago, and sometimes I feel like, he's checking in on me. So there's always that too, I guess.
That's a very good possibility.
That's very interesting. Is there anything you guys can tell her to do in the meantime before you have an investigation to calm her fears?
Russ?
Well, I always think that spirits won't hurt you. I've never had one hurt me. I've seen people get scratched. And I just think it's a different plane of existence for us after we pass on. And I know Hollywood has made some scary movies and that's what they're for, to scare you. But I've been startled by spirits, but never scared. So if it's the cats, they're just lost. That's my belief. They're just lost and looking for your attention, and they don't know how to get it.
Wow, that gives you some kind of peace of mind, and you can take that away. Thank you for calling in, is that KN? Kelly? Thank you. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
I just want to add one thing about the animals. Like when you have, excuse me, I'm sick. When people die, people have all kinds of agendas for this lifetime. They got to go back. They got to meet people. They got to plan their next life. They got to, they have all these thoughts about what is wrong and good and bad and where they should be and what they should do. Animals are very pure in spirit. Pretty sure they only come in here once. Humans will come back and forth to learn different things, but the animal is so connected to you. They're either at home or they're here. And so they will choose to spend half their time in heaven, if that's what you want to call it, and half their time with you. And if they miss you, they move with the speed of thought. That's why spirit moves so fast. It's not the speed of light, it's the speed of thought. That's how the soul moves. And so animals will come and just hang out with you. And I've been surprised to see animals of mine come back after years and they're still seen. And so it's interesting. So once you develop that connection with an animal, their spirit is so pure that they're all just about love and they want to be there. They want to be there with you. And possibly if you buy a house where there's a spirit there, maybe they're very comfortable with their home. And they just want to be there too.
Yeah. Well, this has been such a great show, and what we're going to do from now on, like I mentioned it before, this seems to be a great topic for people because there's a lot of people who want to connect with spirits. So every Thursday, the first Thursday of every month, we're going to do this again. So I think we're going to welcome all you guys back because I think it's a really good popular topic, and I think a lot of people, they want that peace of mind too. And I know myself, I think I have hauntings here and of my past. I lost a lot of family, and I feel that I would love to get some closure because I know they're here. I know they're with me, and I know a lot of other people feel the same way with their loved ones. And if you're interested about being an investigator, you can always check out Sean. Sean, what is your Facebook page that you have?
It's Pittsburgh Paranormal Society.
And if anybody needs to contact you, they can contact you there?
Yes, just send me a message.
Okay. Well, we're coming to that bewitching hour, and it's a full moon, and we have to say goodbye tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
But thank you so much for joining us tonight. We loved having you here, all our guest callers. And if you are interested, just definitely give Sean a ring. And if you know anybody who's interested, and they can contact that too. And just remember, guys, it's the 4th of July weekend. Be careful. We don't want to have any accidents. And please check out my author page, J.E. Nicasio, and my trilogy on Amazon. And guys, I'm thanking you again for this wonderful night. We'll talk to you next week with medium psychic Carol Obley. So good night, everyone.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.